There's a secret that almost no man understands, and once you grasp it, women who once ignored you will start wondering where they went wrong. I'm not going to tell you to play childish games. This is not about petty revenge. This is about power, silent power, mature power. The kind that makes her check your profile at 2 a.m. and wonder why she ever took you for granted. Now listen to me carefully, my brother, because what I'm about to tell you might hurt a little, but it will wake you up. When a woman ignores you, most men make the same mistake. They chase, they over-message, they try to fix it, they think, maybe if I show her how serious I am, she'll give me attention again. But what actually happens? She pulls further away. Why? Because women are emotional beings. They don't respond to desperation, they respond to contrast. So I want to introduce you to the first golden rule of this video. Burn it into your mind forever. What you chase runs. What you ignore becomes curious. Now, let's be honest. When she starts pulling away or ignoring you, it's like a shot to your ego. Your instinct says, I need to do something, I need to reclaim her attention. But in that moment, the more you do, the more you lose. Why? Because you're giving away the most precious thing you own, your value. A man's value is not in his looks, it's not in his money, it's in his absence. It's what happens when he disappears. Imagine this, you meet a girl, there's chemistry, you talk, you text. Then one day, she starts replying late. She used to laugh at your jokes. Now she just sends dry emojis. You feel that pressure in your chest, that anxiety, that emotional pull that says, do something or you'll lose her. And if you don't understand how women work, you will follow that pressure. But not you, not anymore. Because after this video, you'll know exactly what to do. You don't react, you don't confront, you don't play the why are you being distant game. Instead, you do the one thing that drives her mind crazy. You vanish, not to punish her, but to protect your energy. Let me explain something powerful to you. Women fall in love when you're not around. I've said this in so many videos, but it's never more important than right now. When you walk away without bitterness, without drama, without noise, you become a mystery. And mystery is a woman's addiction. Now you might ask, but what if she never comes back? What if she forgets me? My answer is simple. If she can forget you easily, she was never really into you, and that's not your loss, that's your freedom. But let me now take you into the psychology of regret, because this is where most men get it wrong. You think regret comes from her seeing you with another girl, or from you posting flashy photos on Instagram. That's noise. That might make her curious for a moment, but it fades fast. True regret happens in silence, in the spaces where she expected you to still care, and you didn't. Let me explain with a real example. A guy I coached was obsessed with a girl who ghosted him after 2 great dates. Instead of texting her again, he unfollowed her quietly. No messages, no shade, no bitterness. He focused on himself. He started training again, reading. He met new people. He didn't post motivational quotes. He didn't write cryptic captions. He just lived. And 3 weeks later, boom, she texted him. Hey, been thinking about you lately. Why? Because in her mind, she assumed he'd be waiting. When he wasn't, it disturbed her certainty. Let me give you something even deeper. Women crave emotional security, but are drawn to emotional contrast. When you stop feeding her ego with attention, her brain starts asking questions. Why isn't he texting me anymore? Did he lose interest? Did he find someone better? And in those questions, regret is born. But listen to me carefully here. The goal is not to make her regret as revenge. That's pettiness. That's weakness. That's neediness in disguise. The real goal is to rise, to use her silence as a mirror and ask yourself, was I giving too much? Was I seeking her approval instead of standing in my own worth? Because let me tell you something most men don't realize. Her silence is your opportunity to become untouchable. Not bitter, not cold, but focused. There's a version of you she hasn't met yet. The version that doesn't beg, that doesn't chase, that doesn't explain. The version that simply moves forward. And when she finally realizes that the attention she took for granted is now gone, that's when the regret hits. When she posts a story hoping you'll reply and you don't. When she messages just to check in, and your answer is polite but distant. When she stalks your stories and sees nothing that gives her the dopamine she's used to. That's the revenge that needs no fire, no shouting, no games. But here's the beautiful twist. Sometimes, and this will shock you, she starts regretting ignoring you. She may come back. Now, what do you do then? That's where most men mess up again. They fall back into the old pattern. They start trying harder again. They undo everything they built. But not you, because if you're still the same man who got ignored, she'll ignore you again. You must be someone new. Not because you want to show her, but because she was just the trigger for a transformation that needed to happen. Now, let's talk about the transformation itself. Because this isn't just about her. It's about you. Making her regret ignoring you starts by making sure you're no longer the version of you she once ignored. That means we're not just waiting in silence, we're growing in silence. It's called silent evolution. The kind of personal change that speaks so loudly it doesn't need to be announced. And let me tell you what that looks like. It starts with energy. You stop sending it to people who drain it. You take it back. You redirect it inward, to the gym, to your craft, to your finances, to your style, to your circle, because here's another truth I need you to never forget. Women regret ignoring men who become what they thought they'd never be. Maybe she thought you were too nice, too eager, too predictable, too common. Let her think that, while you become the opposite in silence. Now, there's something else powerful that happens when you evolve in silence. She doesn't know what's going on, and it drives her wild. She starts stalking your page. She notices you're not online at the same times. You're not commenting on her posts anymore. You're not tagging her. You're just gone, but not in a bitter way, in a leveled up way. And here's the kicker. When you finally do post something, it's not aimed at her, it's aimed at life. You're just on a boat, or with new people, or launching something. You're laughing. You're not trying to make anyone jealous. And because you're not trying, it works. Let's pause here for a moment because this is important. Most guys think that in order to get a girl's attention back, they need to do something, say something clever, post something flashy, or show off a new girl. That's weak energy. What you need to understand is this. The most powerful form of communication is presence. And the most painful punishment is the absence of that presence. You were once available. Now you're not. And your absence speaks volumes. But only if it's paired with quiet progress. See, if you go silent and do nothing with your life, that's not power, that's pouting. But if you go silent and build and glow and grow, that's dominance. That's what haunts her at night. And I want to give you a very real example, a student of mine. Let's call him James. Got ignored by a girl after dating for 3 months. She told him she wasn't feeling it anymore. He didn't argue. He didn't beg. He simply said, "I understand, wish you the best." And then he disappeared, deleted her number, didn't watch her stories, didn't ask about her. He enrolled in a course, changed his look, started lifting, made new friends. 3 months later, she texted him. "I don't know why I'm thinking about you so much lately, just wanted to check in." He looked at the message, paused, and said something that ended it perfectly. "Thank you. I'm in a different place now, wishing you the best too." She replied again. He didn't. He had already moved forward. "Now, let me ask you something, my brother. Do you want her back? Or do you want to become the man who doesn't need her back? Because that's the ultimate revenge. Indifference, not coldness, not hatred, but peace. You see, regret is not about her saying sorry. Regret is about her realizing she lost access to your time, to your attention, to your love, and most importantly, to your future. You don't need to send a long text. You don't need to make a dramatic Instagram story. You don't need to explain how she hurt you. You show it by never giving her the chance to do it again. Now, here's the final truth I want you to absorb deep into your nervous system. She will remember the man who walked away silently more than the one who begged to stay. Because emotional absence echoes louder than emotional noise. So the next time a girl ignores you, don't panic, don't chase, don't beg, don't play the clown trying to get a laugh. Instead, disappear, evolve, rise. And, when not if, she feels your absence, let her sit with it, let her wonder. Because that's when regret is born. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Some of you might still feel that deep itch, that "but I just want her to see my worth" kind of ache. And I understand. I've been there. It's hard. When someone you care about suddenly stops caring, you question your own value. But that's the trick of it. That moment, when you feel lowest, that's the moment you're being tested. Not by her, by life, by yourself. It's the crossroads between boyhood and manhood. Boys chase closure. Men become the closure. You want to make her regret ignoring you, become so focused, so fulfilled, and so elevated, that she has to look up just to see where you are now. Not because you climbed to make her jealous, but because you finally climbed for yourself. Let's go even deeper. Women don't regret leaving a man who keeps circling her like a lost puppy. They regret losing the man who, after being rejected, stepped into his power and became unstoppable. The man who she thought was soft but turned out to be steel. The man she thought would wait but vanished without a sound. The man she thought needed her validation but was validating himself through action. Because here's a truth that most people, even women, don't fully understand. A woman's attraction is tied to what you represent, not just how you feel about her. If she ignored you, it's because in her eyes you were too available, too predictable, too easy. So you must break that pattern, not with revenge, but with reinvention. Reinvention is quiet. You don't announce it. You don't post about it every day. You live it. Until one day you look in the mirror and see someone even you admire. And at that point you won't even care whether she regrets it or not. Because you'll be too busy enjoying the man you've become. And here's something wild that happens around this point. The universe, God, life, whatever you call it, starts sending new people into your path. People who see your worth without you having to prove it. People who value your presence from the start. Women who don't ignore your messages. Who don't need time to think. Who don't make you earn basic respect. And then she, the one who once ignored you, will feel it. Not because you told her. Not because you tried to show her. But because it's in your aura now. You are no longer the same man. She had her chance. And she missed it. Now, I want to leave you with one final analogy. Imagine your value is a diamond. When someone ignores the diamond, you don't chase them around the street screaming, "Hey look, I'm valuable, why don't you want me?" You polish that diamond, you place it in a better setting, you raise the price, and then you let someone who knows its worth come along and pay full price without negotiation. You are the diamond. Not every hand that touches you deserves to keep you. Not every eye that sees you knows your value, and not every woman who ignores you deserves a second chance to experience you again. So remember this, my brother, her regret is not your goal. Because once you grow, once you evolve, once you rise, she can regret you in silence, while you live in peace.